Hi, I'm Jalen Rose, and welcome to the Renaissance Man podcast, proudly presented by the New York Post, a show where we cover trends in fashion, entertainment, current events, and everything in between. My next guest is an iconic rapper, actress, and entrepreneur who's been such a trailblazer in the entertainment industry. She's the first solo female rapper to put out a full album. Did y'all know that? Light as a rock. And she also paved the way for so many other artists. She's also the first female rapper nominated for a Grammy. First artist in hip hop as a woman to perform at Carnegie Hall. And also the first female rapper to earn a gold single in 1993, Roughneck. Now, her popular comedy sitcom series, Partners in Rhyme, has just been released into its second season. You can catch that right now on ALLBLK TV. It is my honor to welcome the legendary MC Lyte to the Renaissance Man. What up, Doe? Thank you for joining me. I appreciate you. You deserve an intro of a goddess, a queen, of somebody that has legendary status. And I know your story, but I have to make sure I ask the question for those that don't know, so we can get introduced to you. So I have to ask you, you started rapping when you were 12 years old while growing up in Brooklyn. Tell me the moment you realized you had talent for dropping bars.
The moment I realized, I guess the true moment was when I met First Priority Music, Milk and Giz and Nat Robinson. And it was an audition. Excuse me, I didn't look at it as an audition. You know, my guy Eric, who I went to school with, he said, come with me to Staten Island. They got a record label. They're looking for a female artist. I had my rhyme book. We went to Staten Island. It was cold as I don't know what. We were going over on that ferry. We got there. They had a Thunderbird, jumped in the Thunderbird, went to the house, went to the basement. There were like 9 guys in the basement all waiting for me to get there. I opened up the rhyme book, took the mic and started going, and they were like, yeah. And I guess that's when I knew I had something.
So give the audience a little background to Milk and Giz.
Yeah, Milk and Giz, yes, they are producers and artists. They started out with a song called I Love Cherries back in the day. Nat Robinson, who also was their dad, but also owned the record label, saw that his sons had a talent and said, you know what, let's do this. So he went and started a record label for them. And then they started to populate the label with other people. Milk and Giz went on to create Top Billin'. And why that is so instrumental in the success of my career is because I came on the heels of their record. So we had records out at the same time, and anything that anybody wanted them for, they had to take me. So it's coincidental that I was the first one to perform at Carnegie Hall because they were actually inviting Audio 2. And because it was a 2-group deal, I got a chance to perform before they did.
That is awesome because so many people, Milk is chilling, Giz is chilling. And I wanted people to know where that came from because it's been sampled and you guys came with that and it just changed the game in so many different facets. But for you, as you mentioned, your rhyme book, it was cold outside.
Yeah.
In a basement full of guys.
Yeah.
This is a male-dominated industry. What was it like for you breaking into it? And then what did it feel like once you started to earn respect, not only of your peers, but of other male artists?
Well, first off, what I would say is I would never suggest to a female MC to do what I did. Like, I would never say, go over on the Staten Island ferry on an island, which by the way, you can't get off of unless you're driving or you take a ferry, you know, so on and so forth. I would never tell someone to go into a basement of a house where they know absolutely no one except the guy that brought them there. It was just a recipe for disaster.
Mhm.
And thank God that's not what they were about. And
Yes.
God had all of us coming together for a bigger purpose than we ever could have imagined. But I don't think I ever approached being in this business as a woman in it. I
Mhm.
just had a story to tell, and it happened to be from a girl's perspective because I was a young child at the time. However, it wasn't until I got older did I understand for myself, not just from people saying, how hard was it coming into the business, but really having an experience myself that, wow, I really did break down some barriers.
Yes.
And I know for me, it was Shy Rock from the Funky Four Plus One More, Salt and Pepper, and Roxanne Shante, and Sweet Tea, and all of these women that were rocking the microphone before me. So I never considered myself the first. I always thought, hey, I'm just in it. I'm pushing the culture forward. But it wasn't until I got older that I realized how difficult it actually was. But
Absolutely.
when you asked me how did I feel once I got there, um, I don't know the delineating moment of, ooh, I made it. I felt somewhat accomplished at the first Grammy nomination, and having people come to my shows, having people show up to a video shoot. It's like, oh, okay. I remember Mike Tyson came to Stop, Look, and Listen. I was like, oh, I must be doing something, like,
That's
um,
cool.
yeah. So those moments never stopped, and there was always someone coming to see me or me being asked to join the Janet Jackson tour or
Hmm.
doing a song with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. Or, like all of these little accolades along the way, sort of confirming or reaffirming my stand in music was always great.
Can you um remember one of your favorite tours
Mhm.
that you were on and some of the other artists and just,
Mhm.
take us back to like one of your favorite tours?
One of my favorite tours was one of the first. It probably was like maybe the second or third tour I went on. It was about 10 groups on it. It was
Mm.
just so many of us. It was Kid and Play and Fresh Prince and Heavy D and Ice T and Public Enemy, I think was the headliners. And one specific, oh, and Hammer and 357, they were all on this same bill. And the openers were Tribe Called Quest and Leaders of the New School. Exactly. It was just like so action packed, and everybody had like 15 minutes to do what you do and get off of that stage. And I just remember one night, this must have been a tour that Heavy D and Public Enemy was sharing the headliner bill, and I was going on fourth. And all of a sudden, I came in the venue, and my manager says, Heavy D wants he doesn't want to close tonight, so he wants to go on fourth. And I was like, he getting headline money. How am I? That's gonna push me to fifth. Then the fifth person didn't want to go sixth. The sixth person didn't want to go. You think I'm about to try to headline this building? Not even. So I went to Heavy D's room, knocked on his door. We had had conversations before, but not really just one on one. And I said to him, this isn't going to work. And he was like, what isn't going to work? I said, they told me that you want to go fourth. That's my spot. I need to stay fourth. Can you go fifth? And he was like, he probably just couldn't even believe it. That little MC Lyte was up in his room trying to lay down
All
some
in his grill, the overweight lover.
in the house. Uh, and so he said, okay. And he let me keep my spot. And because the headliner, they could pull rank, they could do
Yes.
whatever they want to do. So I was just very content that he had allowed me to keep my spot, and he went on after me. And I can't remember who was originally supposed to be after me, but in any
That's legendary. I recently had Dapper Dan on the show, and you name it, all of those artists just reminded me of the influence that he also had in hip hop. Do you recall some of your favorite fashion choices? You are the artist when people look back and embody what's considered old school rap. Everybody end up dressing like you. So let's talk about your fashion choices.
Well, you know what's funny is I think Dapper Dan may have been the school right before me. So I wound up with Carl Kanai. So, so I got a lot of the fashions from Carl Kanai and Shirt Kings, like Dapper Dan, that's Harlem, right? So that's the leather wears, and Shirt Kings is Queens, which is closely connected with Brooklyn. So it was a little bit more of a rougher edge, a little more unfinished and not so polished as Harlem. And so I had all of the Bart Simpson characters on my pants. I had a Black Betty Boop on one leg and Bart and Marge, Homer on another leg. And I had my name in the back. And then of course with the 5,001 flavors.
Yes, Shay and Guy.
Oh my goodness. It was so funny. I'm gonna get real personal with this. I got audited one year. The IRS audited me. And so I got an attorney and all of this. Okay, so what seems to be the issue? Well, she's got over 100,000 in clothes. If she can wear these clothes on the street, then she can't write them off. So my accountant came to me. He was like, what is this 100,000 in clothes? Can you wear this stuff on the street? I was like, hell no, I wouldn't ever wear this thing on the street. He said, do you have them? I said, you know what? I happen to be one of those artists that keeps all of my memorabilia. I went to the storage, we pulled them out, we took pictures. The IRS threw it out in 2 seconds. That's how much clothes I was getting from 5,001 flavors in cash. And then came the rhinestones, and the Teddy Riley, that movement and moment just was so, historical to fashion as it relates to hip hop. And to this day, Teddy Riley is rhinestone down wherever if it ain't sparkling, it ain't him. So I credit him.
That is awesome. I appreciate how you've always not only been a terrific artist with amazing bars, but also like fashionable, a leader, and conscious. And I appreciate recently you saw artists going back and forth, slinging the little words at each other. And you made sure you got on social media and you acknowledged that greatness comes from unity. And so I have to ask, like, why do you think it's been so hard to bridge the gap between generations in a lot of ways of hip hop?
Well, I think that's such a tricky and heavy loaded question, or heavily loaded. I think it has a lot to do with these monikers that somewhat journalists are responsible for, even coining this phrase old school, or coining phrases of these segmented ways of looking at the hip hop genre. And once you start having segments, it's like anything. When you have teams, when you have an Atlanta team and you have an LA team, everybody's rooting for their team. So it becomes very segregated. Now it's really good, to have some measurable amount of conflict. But when it gets off record is when we start to have an issue. I come from a school of braggadocio. If you can't say you're the baddest, then you might as well just sit down. But then, we've had incidents in hip hop where it started on record and then it went out into the world. And this is not just a call or a cry for communication between artists, but between people. We're losing too many people, and not just from music, just in general across the board. It's never been so easy to just shoot a gun. It's like, what is really happening with the value that we're
Yes.
putting on lives? And
Yeah.
so when you saw me on social media, it was definitely to a cry out to hip hop, because so many people look to us. So many
Hmm.
people listen to us. We're
Yes.
influencing people without even really knowing our sense of power. And it's
Yeah.
not until you become someone where you're traveling the world and you're like, oh my God, look at what I'm saying. Okay, this
Yes.
can have an effect on somebody. That's why I can love Lil Baby and how he's becoming so like aware of his surroundings and the
Yes.
bigger purpose for why it is that God has given him his platform is to be able to shine, but
Yes.
also to be able to teach and
Yes.
move people into a larger sense of what it means to be conscious and awake
Mhm.
walking and not the walking dead.
Yes.
Yeah.
And KRS-One said it, teachers teach and do the world good. Kings just rule, and
Mhm.
most are never understood.
Right.
And that's important for us to continue also as we mature. You see how it affects your community, how it affects your family, how it affects your kids.
Mhm.
There's certain things you see yourself saying or posting or probably rhyming about that you like, I don't want my kids, to, to repeat that right now.
Right.
So how was that transformation for you when you started to realize that your words truly had power?
Yeah, I think, because of the school that I attended as a child, I was aware that I could influence, which is why even the first song is I Crammed to Understand You. My message was an anti-drug message, not with a dealer, poor Georgie, eyes are the soul. It's like all of these songs that I had, but then there was also this braggadocious side of me that I had to come to understand. You can do that, but hone it on in and know that every word has power. And and I think it must have been maybe after the first album, after traveling the world, like, okay, I see
Mm,
what's happening here. I've got to be very careful with the words that I choose because, someone out there is hanging on every word,
yes.
looking for someone to speak to them. And if you speak to them in the right way, you could either have them do something good, have them do something bad, have them move away from a bad relationship, have them give more time and more focus to their kids. Like, it's so many things that you're capable of inciting
Yes.
with just words. So it probably was after the first album.
And I appreciate you taking the time, but before I let you get out of here, I got to ask you one question because growing up in New York City, the birthplace of hip hop, it
Mhm.
was always fascinating to me to be like, wow, like the rap music and the things I'm seeing on TV is where they get to live. So I
Mm.
have to ask you, can you name your top 5 movies or TV shows
Mhm.
that represent hip hop?
Well, New York Undercover, I
Mm.
mean, that did it really well. Of course, my new show, Partners in Rhyme, we
Mm.
represent hip hop all day as we dive into what it means to be someone from, the 90s and someone from today. And just, the conflict that comes from that is what we explore on the show. Canaan that's the
Mm.
90s, right? I think When They See Us, Ava DuVernay, that to me was a display and a reflection of hip hop during that time. As a matter of fact, she wanted to use Paper Thin in the opening, but bureaucracy didn't allow for it to happen quick enough.
Oh.
What other shows? Well, I would imagine Living Single,
Mm.
because we were talking about hip hop during that day. And of course, we had Queen Latifah representing us as women in hip hop on TV. Uh,
Yes.
that was real and tangible and made us as other hip hop artists feel like that was accessible. Same thing with the Fresh Prince of Bel Air.
Yes.
Like, here's this hip hop kid
Yes.
in the show and in real life, here's this guy that's wrapped up in hip hop now in Beverly Hills, now on TV. It was like seeing miracles happen all around us, just what was possible. Friday, Ice Cube,
Yes.
hip hop, it's like cult like following. And I just saw a post of Angela Means, the actress that played Felicia, and she's like, people to this day still come up to her, bye Felicia, bye Felicia. You know,
Oh man,
yeah,
that's
coming to America. I mean, it goes on and on. Like, what are the classics for us as a hip hop community that we felt like we could see ourselves in?
yes, and we're forever grateful to all of the things you have and continue to contribute. Make sure second season right now, y'all check it out. Partners in Rhyme on ALLBLK TV. But before I let you get out of here, I got a rapid fire segment called Gone in 60 Seconds. You ready to do this, MC Lyte?
I believe so. Let's give it a go.
All right, in the spirit of unity within the rap community, name an artist from the newer generation that you just want to celebrate and you enjoy.
J. Cole.
Of your many albums and singles, what would you say is the one that you hold so very near to your heart?
Mm. 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 I would say I Crammed Understand You because it was the first.
Your fashion game over the years has been iconic. Think back down memory lane, red carpets, video shoots, albums. What is the flyest outfit you remember wearing?
I don't remember who made it, but it was a black leather dress that I think it was the BET Awards 2002 or something like that. That was one for the books.
We're going to grab that photo for sure. And lastly, but certainly not least, what can fans expect from the second season of your hit show, Partners in Rhyme?
Lots of laughs, lots of conflict, drama, and just a new way of showing an unorthodox family making it through.
I just heard Big Daddy Kane was going to be in there. Is
Yeah.
that true?
Yeah, he plays an ex-lover trying to come back to get his woman.
Of course, ain't no hair on his chest, but he's one tough cookie. Thank you, MC Lyte. All love and blessings.
You are very welcome. Good to see you.